I blacked out from lack of oxygen, and yet I remained conscious the entire time. And then I came back with notes that uncover a truth that eventually every indie ear sees for themselves. And that is, in life, we are flying blind. We have no idea what we're doing, actually. And this is by design. On the other side, however, we get to see the soul contract. And that gives more context to why we came here in the first place. It gives context to your life and meaning to your existence. So we're going to get into that today. We're going to discover more about what that means. Now, just to briefly go over my near-death experience, this happened to me in high school. I was in a classroom and we were playing this pass-out game. And my friend held my neck, the skin on my neck, and pushed back after I had hyperventilated, and I passed out on the floor. My friends say that I was gone for about 3 minutes, and during that time, I was completely aware. Immediately, I was aware upon passing out, and I knew that I was dying. I don't think that I left my body. I didn't see my body. I wasn't outside my body. But in this space, I was completely at peace. I felt euphoric. I felt excited, like the curtains were about to open and I was about to see the other side and I was about to see God. And during that experience, I knew I had all of this information. It just started flooding my mind. And I knew that everything made sense. Everything was in perfect order. Everything was okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to have compassion on yourself. I want you to think in terms of being outside yourself a little bit. And let me ask you this. Have you ever felt in life like life is happening to you or like life is happening for you? Those are two different things, right? Two different ideas. Have you ever felt like sometimes life is scripted and then at other times it feels like it's completely chaotic? It's a little similar to time. Like sometimes you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and it feels like that day is just dragging and you're walking through mud or oil or something like that. And then other times it goes really fast. And a lot of times it's because you're having fun or whatever, but life is moving a lot more quickly. Same thing about I guess the script of life. We feel at times like everything is just falling into place and it's working for us. And we could almost see how everything makes perfect sense. And in those moments, we feel all is well, right, with the world. Other times, it's chaotic. It makes absolutely no sense. And sometimes those times go on for long periods at a time. And it's really hard to deal with. It's really hard to live life during those times because we question everything. We question God, we question ourselves, we question our choices, but we're not giving ourselves enough credit. Because if you think about it, we are living with a lack of information. We don't have every piece of the puzzle. We can't calculate every part of life. We can't make things happen in the moment. We can't control every circumstance in the moment. That is the way it seems. And even in some of these manifestation videos, there is a lack of explaining that, you can't just make things happen like that. Sometimes they do. Sometimes the coincidences and everything, the synchronicities, everything falls into place. That's true. But it's not always that way. And yet there is truth to manifesting things in your life. There is something to that, but it has to do with how you structure your thought life, how you structure your perception of life. And then things fall more easily into place. But on a higher level, let's talk about the higher level for a moment. On a higher level, there is a different kind of reality. In other words, outside of this life, where there's confusion, lack of understanding, lack of information, there is life after death. And on this level, you have the bird's eye view. You see everything. You see all of your choices. And that brings me to the idea of the soul contract. The soul contract is something that you designed before you came here. You meaning the soul in your body. The body is just an avatar. It's just a vehicle. It's not who you actually are. So, you designed this reality, this realm, this ride, if you will, before you came here. So on a higher level, you are absolutely responsible for it. And you're absolutely in alignment with a choice that you made before you came here. So yes, we have freedom of choice, but that starts before you were born. So let's go a little bit further. What is reality? Well, this reality is real in a sense. Yet, when we die and we are on the other side, that reality is far more real than this reality. This is something that I have discovered over the course of listening and reviewing and interviewing people, and we're talking thousands of near-death experiences. They all say the same thing, that reality is far more real than this reality. So this is like a simulation. I don't know if I want to call it that fully, that it is for sure a simulation. We could get into definitions and semantics and all this stuff, but let's just think of it in this way. That reality on the other side is a truer reality than this one. So in this other reality, this ultra reality that goes beyond this reality, we are creators. We are co-creators with God. And when I mention God, I mean like God is maybe the mainframe of the computer, the mainframe of the consciousness that we all are, but we are all a part of it. So there is this co-creation, a soul contract that comes into play before you come into this physical world. And while you're there and you're creating your soul contract, you make agreements with other parts of yourself, which are other souls, soul family ties, things like that. Sometimes they say that there's this karmic debt or whatever. I don't know if it's like a debt. Words don't quite do it justice what's going on, but we have this relationship with other souls. And so we are learning together. We are in this, not like learning like we don't know something, but we are experiencing life And this physical reality enriches, somehow it elevates our energy and joy on the other side. That is the whole point of coming here to begin with. So, what is the meaning of life? Is it strictly to gain more knowledge? Not necessarily, but there's something about having a physical experience when you are a spiritual entity. And when you're in that state, you can access everything. So, imposing limitations on yourself gives you a different kind of experience. If you can have anything and do anything, and then you limit yourself and give yourself amnesia, what kind of wisdom can be derived from that state? So think about it that way. Think about it in a broader spectrum. So we make agreements with other souls while we're on the other side. And when I say while, that is a term that deals in time. On the other side, there is no time. Everything's happening in the now. So I can't quite wrap my mind around that in my physical human state, but we make agreements while on the other side. That's the best way I can describe it. And sometimes those agreements are made with people, souls, that become perpetrators toward us in this life. They become the bad guy and they do bad things to us. And here's the thing that you're going to have a hard time, or you might have a hard time hearing, and that is that sometimes many times, actually all the time, we agree to those bad things. We make agreements with the people that have done us harm in this life. So from that higher perspective, in this perspective, there's good, evil, and all that stuff. From the higher perspective, there's something different going on. It's almost as if we are role playing. It's like actors on a stage. Sometimes the actors want to be the bad guy. Sometimes the actors want to be the good guy. And so we play different roles throughout these lives. Now you may ask, do we reincarnate? That is that's an interesting, I guess, philosophical thought. I think yes, but you have to keep in mind that we're outside of time on the other side. So reincarnation implies time. It could be that we are experiencing multiple lives on the other side, multiple versions of ourselves. Because also on the other side, these soul groups and these contracts that we're making with, for lack of a better term, outside entities are just parts of ourselves because we are part of a whole. So we're trying to put into words, when we're talking about near-death experiences and soul contracts and how it all works, we're trying to put into words the unfathomable, because we're both the single soul individual consciousness, and we are also the whole. Think of it like this, and a lot of near-death experiencers use this analogy. Think about the ocean. The ocean is water. The ocean is the whole. The ocean is in and of itself one entity. But you can take a drop of water out of the ocean for a little while and then put it back in and it becomes the ocean again. So we are the drop of water in the body out of the ocean, but still connected to it because we are still the elements of the ocean. So we are still the ocean. It's just we're not in the ocean presently. We're in this body, or the body is a focal point. That's another way to put it. Each body is a focal point of consciousness that is the whole. And there are parts. We have parts of ourselves. We have parts of our own mentality that we deal with. There's something called parts work. It's dealing with the one, on one hand, one part of me feels this way and another part of me feels this way or whatever. It still kind of comes together to make the whole. And that is what consciousness is. It is the whole and it is the individual at the same time. So I hope that gives you a little bit of perspective and gives you some more insight into what it means to be in this human state. So keep in mind, and I think that this is the main takeaway here, keep in mind that while you are in the avatar body, while you are in the vehicle, you don't have all the information. And so from that place, you can have a lot of compassion for yourself. Now, you may ask, is it okay to pray if I'm connected to this Godhead? Of course. That's the higher self. It's connected to the higher consciousness. I think that that aligns you. And if you ask for help, that's another thing that near-death experiencers say, is that if you ask for help from the other side, the other parts of yourself that are angels and other souls or whatever, God, then you will receive help. And it's easier to just get through life that way, to rely sometimes on this help. Now, for other people, maybe they're more self-reliant. Maybe they want to be in an atheist state of being. It doesn't change anything. I mean, just because you're denying that there's an ocean doesn't mean that there isn't one. But keep in mind that everything makes sense on the other side. When the lights go out, the script will be revealed. And all the detours and all the things that didn't make sense or don't make sense in this life will make sense on the other side. I hope this has helped you today. If you like this video and you like the content, let me ask you, please like it, like the video, subscribe, and have a great day.